Oh. So what have you all been up to? Craig, you getting excited about what we're a couple months out from abstractions?
Yeah, actually, I'm getting really, really excited for that because my burnout phase. I'm still kind of in my burnout. Been just doing too much
Yeah.
technical and some other things like with the burnout phase. But with just the burnout happening and everything, I've kind of been took myself off of a couple meetup schedules and things like that.
Hmm.
I've had a couple people ask me if I wanted to submit talks for. I actually, this is probably the first time in a while. There's another local one here in Pittsburgh called Pittsburgh Tech Fest,
Hmm.
and I didn't submit. This is probably the first time in 3 years I did not submit a talk for that. So they were kind of, curious as to why that was happening. And so what I decided to do this year was to, kind of take a break for for the beginning of for the spring and for the beginning of the summer, and
Hmm.
then hit Tech Fest in June. Um,
As an attendee.
yeah, as an attendee. Pi, Ohio, I think possibly at the beginning of August, and then Abstractions in August. So kind of,
Nice.
go from a 1 day conference to another 1 day conference to a 3 day conference. So get myself back into things.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, Abstractions is kind of is kind of exciting there.
Yeah, it was exciting enough for me to buy a ticket, so I'll see you there.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. You've a place to stay up here and everything, or
Yeah, I just recommended hotel deal,
cool.
whatever, the one that they have the group rate on.
Yeah, I do have a spare room, but I also have friends coming in, or else I'd offer you my spare room.
Thank you.
So So I have friends coming in from Philadelphia for that too. So they're taking the spare room. So if they cancel,
Nice.
I can offer it to you, at the last minute if possible.
Thank you. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. That'll be so. I went to RubyConf last year, but that was here in San Antonio. So this is going to be like the first big like travel conference that I'm going to. So I think I picked a good one. So what are you working on, Jay?
Right now I'm about to look into modules that support converting plain text to PDF.
For Ruby, there's one. It's called Prawn, I think. I've used it.
Uh, Need one for Python.
It's probably like Peon or something. Pi Pi DF. Sorry, I'm unwrapping my leg real quick. I've been doing the whole Fitbit thing and tweaked my leg, so it's
Oof.
been wrapped all day. So I'm taking that off, and hopefully it'll be all right. What about you, Trey? What have you been up to?
He's like, you're still muted. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to find my unmute. Um, Last week has been kind of just fooling around with this regular expressions tutorial thing I'm trying to get done. It's like coding and writing curriculum are totally different things. I feel like I need to switch between the two because I get burned out on one or the other.
Yeah.
So I'm just like trying to even figure out example stuff because writing code is one thing, but then if I take the code and put it out into an example,
Uh-huh.
it doesn't make any sense to someone who wasn't working on the project I was working on. So I'm trying to like scour the internet for examples of regular expression stuff. It's kind of boring.
Yeah. Yeah, and you don't want to make it like too contrived, but at the same time you don't want to make it too like you want to focus on whatever it is that you're trying to teach someone.
Exactly. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, I could see that. Sounds like a fun project though. I really need to get better at regular expressions. I can put something basic together, but that's about it.
Yeah. Well, making this webinar series thing has helped me a lot because I had to look into features that I've never used before.
Nice. Oh, so I was off last week, because it was my birthday, and I ended up heading out to dinner. But what'd y'all do?
We just hung out.
Yeah.
I think we were all coding something different, and then just kind of asking questions. I played around a little bit with Phantom JS and what's it called? Selenium.
Okay.
And it was pretty interesting. It was cool. I haven't really done too much with it. We were racking our heads over a problem, which turned out to actually just be a known issue with Phantom JS. So
Oh no.
yeah. So imagine trying to figure out why it's not working when the rest of the world is trying to figure that out too. And now
Uh-oh.
I'm learning that there are way too many modules that do crazy PDF stuff.
Yeah. Oh, nice, Greg. It's a XKCD for regex.
Yeah, XKCD seems to have something for everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
There's always an XKCD answer for every question, I think. If there's not, there will be soon.
Oh my God, I love the Perl like exploda bubble thing when it
Yes.
swings in. It's a Perl.
come on, Derek.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, good.
Hey, Derek. What have you been doing?
I have been doing Django.
What?
And Django has this thing called class-based views,
Okay.
which are a tour de force of multiple inheritance.
How so?
They build everything that you might want in a page, in a view,
Okay.
into separate objects, and then you inherit from the objects that you want to pull the individual pieces in.
Interesting. And they don't clash because of some naming convention or something? How do they not run into each other?
They're all built together so that they use different things for different functions,
Okay.
for different parts of how you go take this object and turn it into a view.
Okay. So it's carefully engineered, you might say.
Yes. I saw a talk by Russell Keith McGee where he referred to it as ravioli code,
Yeah.
because it's nice and tasty and it looks great, but if you actually want to dig into it, you need to get dirty and understand everything that goes into it.
Nice. It's a nice variation on spaghetti code, too. And ravioli sounds good. So what are you building in Django, or are you just kind of playing around with it?
Well, I am a gamer. I play D&D, and
Yep.
I want to have a character sheet online.
Okay.
So I am trying to build a model for a character sheet that will let you update your character and include all the details so that you can just use that to keep track of things.
Cool. So you don't ever lose your sheet. It's just online. Nice.
Still very early.
Cool. So what do you think of Django?
There's a learning curve.
Okay.
But I like the things that it can do, and I like the fact that you can. There are add-ons for when you want to add on to it, but most things you need already come with it.
Cool. It's from my experience. I've had limited experience with it, but it's Python, but it's not Python. Most of what you're doing isn't so Python-y. It's
Yeah.
Django-y.
It reminds me of a certain Ruby module or frame.
What? I don't know what you could be referring to.
And I feel like.
Is it Rango?
What's that? Yeah, Rango.
Rango?
Rango on jails. But yeah, like that. I think that was one of the reasons why I kind of have this. I won't say a aversion to Django, but like this. I want to learn Python, and I feel like now part of learning Python is learning Django. Just like nowadays, learning Ruby is kind of synonymous with you need to learn Ruby on Rails.
I think a lot of people interchange those terms.
Yeah. And I don't think it's necessarily a horrible thing. It's just it's one of those things that I think happens without people realizing it,
Right.
and it causes a problem. I'm about to go buy I want to spend like $200 right now, but I need to justify it or my wife will kill me.
You want
Sorry.
to buy Ruby on Rails for $200?
Oh, if I could, that'd be great. But
I'll sell you Ruby on Rails for $200.
not Ruby
Let me go
code.
download it.
I want the rights. I want it to be forever known that I own Ruby on Rails. Like, but no, I need a mouse and possibly a keyboard to go with my iPad, which I have a keyboard, but I'm getting tired of having to sync and unsync it. So
I am personally I hate touchscreens. Unless it's on my phone, I'll deal with it on my phone. But if
I
it's
will
not on my phone,
I will say the iPad. I had low expectations. It exceeded my expectations in that now, while I don't use it daily, I'm getting closer and closer to the point where I will be using it more than I use my laptop.
really.
And I also like to use it as a companion to my laptop, which really helps, which is why you're seeing like the side of my chin, because I'm looking at my laptop while I'm talking to you guys.
So you use both devices at once?
Yes,
kinda
like
like
I'm
two
having this.
screens?
Well, and the reason being is when I jump off, I want to have everything set up for my podcast interview. So it's just easier for me to talk on the iPad, get everything set up when I'm ready, just cut off the iPad.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
But I mean, no, like the iPad is like I found an app called Coda, and it is by no means like a way for you to quickly develop on your iPad. Well, I'll take that back. If you already have the system set up, you can quickly develop on your iPad, and you can run code, but you're basically doing it through an SSH session through the app. So for me, it would be I have this server running, and the server would be my test server, development server, whatever. I do all of my coding on that server, and then just sync it up with my laptop whenever I get done. But it basically allows me to take my iPad perhaps down to San Diego for the San Diego Python instead of my entire laptop, and I can still be just as effective in writing code. And the one drawback to that is I would be able to test web setups, but it would require a little bit more work.
What is the benefit of taking your iPad rather than your laptop?
Smaller, lighter weight. If I'm doing something like, for instance, my wife's been wanting to go to Balboa Park one of these Saturdays, which is like a really pretty park down here, and I could easily take my iPad in like a backpack or like a little carry kind of thing, and it was easier to deal with. If I'm moving around doing a lot of stuff, instead of having to carry my old laptop with the spinning disc in it that I'm always afraid if I bump too hard it's going to like destroy everything.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, and I mean it's definitely not something that I would say, oh, everybody should be doing this. No, it's a very selective use case, and the only reason why it works for me is because I decided to go buy the gigantic iPad instead of the smaller one.
You got the Pro? Is that the big one?
Yeah, I got the 13-inch Pro.
Okay. Yeah, I have a 10-inch Samsung Galaxy Tab, and I have one use for it, and that's like if I'm going to sleep but I'm not really tired, I'll watch Hulu on it, and that's about it. I've tried doing other stuff. I thought that maybe I could like use it with a stylus and draw something. I thought that maybe I could take notes or like try to do some kind of productivity thing on it or surf the web, but ultimately it doesn't have a keyboard and I have to touch the screen, so it doesn't work for me for those things.
Hmm.
But it's just me.
So what's everybody else been up to?
Oh, looks like Steve joined us. How are you doing, Steve?
We will get Steve to talk one of these days. Is my goal in life.
Yes. Oh, he's getting a mic.
Oh yeah.
Today may be the day. That didn't work. So I guess everyone's going to RailsConf this week. Everyone but me and I guess us.
And me.
And what, PyCon
And-
starts next week or the week after?
3 weeks.
Is it
3
3
and a
weeks?
half. Yeah.
Okay.
Don't remind me. It just makes me sad. I will not be going.
It's always next year.
Yes.
That's true.
Well, hopefully, if this hired thing pans out, it will be next year.
Sweet. Hope it pans out.
Yeah, you and me both. Be like my second attempt with it.
Did you go ahead and run through it again?
So you're only allowed to take the test once. So
Okay.
unfortunately, my last test will count forever. Which, I mean, I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing or not. It just kind of is what it is.
Yeah.
I do like having I need to get a monitor. That way I can just look at a screen, because I do like being able to type down here and look up there. I was like,
But
that's
isn't your laptop up there?
yeah, but I have.
Hey, I have that exact same keyboard.
Yeah.
Do you want another one?
Almost.
Would that help?
It might. Is it the old school one?
I don't know. It's the one that's cheap on Amazon.
I mean, if you're not gonna do anything, wait, you got like the Windows version. That's weird. You
It's
keep
got
your
a-
dirty Windows thing. I don't know. Nah, I think I'll be okay. Like I said, I'm planning on getting a second keyboard eventually. One for the sole one for the iPad, like the iPad cover thing.
Okay.
Hey guys, what's up?
Hey, Steve. How are you doing?
Yeah.
Good.
And my laptop mic doesn't work, so I have to use a USB mic.
Okay. Cool.
Oh, too far.
Oh, so what have you been up to? Have you been doing any Python?
No, I haven't. I've been trying to go through free code camp.
Hmm. I've heard a
I
lot of
keep
good things
getting-
about it.
Yeah, I mean, I've learned a lot by doing it. So I really haven't had time to do much Python stuff. I've been doing JavaScript, jQuery, all that stuff.
Mhm.
But keep getting, run into these problems and I get stuck.
Uh-oh.
And then I spend like a week trying to Google trying to find the answers and nothing works. Nothing that I find works.
I've heard they've it's almost like gamified somewhat. I mean, I haven't gone through it myself, but what is it like going through free code camp tutorials?
Well, you just really, the first part of it is just, reading through stuff, doing some stuff, and then you get to the part where you're actually, you get like a project. They call it a zip line, where
Okay.
they give you something that they show you something that you have to replicate. And there's different APIs that they want you to use.
Mhm.
The last one was to create a Wikipedia viewer using the Wikipedia API.
Nice. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and the one I'm trying to do now is Twitch, where they give you a bunch of usernames. You gotta kind of see show who's online. If they are online, what are they streaming? If they're offline, you gotta show all that, kind of like a table.
That's pretty cool that they're integrating with like major sites, I guess.
Yeah.
Like Wikipedia and Twitch.
Yeah. Well, it's just kind of showing you they're using them to show you how to use APIs.
Mhm.
Yeah, but this one has me stuck now. I'm finding out you can't. There's, when you're using JSON calls or JSON-P, there's a lot of limitations.
Uh-oh.
So, yep. There's no way to save your data to a variable that you work on outside of the script, or none that I've found yet.
So you have to do it all just in one go?
Yeah, exactly.
That can be tough, especially when you're trying to kind of debug your way through it.
Yeah. Console.log.
Yep.
Exactly. That's my friend. There's one that I did also that's like a weather app. It finds your location and then tells you what the weather is in your area.
Nice. I've always wondered how they do that because, like, you see that request, like your web browser's trying to determine your location. Do you want to allow it or whatever? But I never really knew how that worked.
Yeah. So I just sent the link that you can see it on CodePen.
Oh, nice.
It gets your location. It does a call to the Google Maps API to figure out what city you're in, and then it also does another call to like a weather site to see what the conditions and the temperature are in your area.
Nice. It worked. Clear and 79 degrees. And northeast side Texas, which is probably just what it's identifying me as.
Well, yeah. That's from Google Maps based on the coordinates your browser provided. So.
Nice. How does my browser know my coordinates?
Your IP address.
Yeah. Probably from your IP from or your ISP, whichever one.
Okay. So wherever Time Warner's hub is at.
Probably. It
Or
works on
wherever Time
it works
Warner
on
has-
cell phones too.
It works on what?
Cell phones. The
Oh.
GPS of your cell phone, it'll get the request from there.
Nice. So it's even more accurate on your cell phone.
Exactly.
Cool. What were you going to say, Derek?
I don't remember. Wasn't too important.
Okay. Oh.
What is 15 times 60?
12.
No.
What?
No.
900.
1200. Okay.
No, 9.
900.
I got 12 in there.
I want to know what was your thought on that math?
Me?
Yeah,
It's the first
To
number
mess
that
you
popped
up.
into my head.
to just say the first number that came out of your came to mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Why not?
Like, so you know how like sometimes you'll say something and then it'll be like it's wrong, but you kind of go with it, and then you have to stop for a second and go, no, that's not right. Yeah, that didn't happen here. Like, you said it, and immediately I was like, wrong. Try again.
Well, I think it was so far from the correct answer that
Yeah.
you didn't even have to process it. Hmm.
I'm sending the link now to the Wikipedia one that I did.
Okay, cool.
That one took probably like a week or two because I had to find a way to get it to not leave my page.
Oh, so when it makes the request, you don't want it to actually go to the other page. You want it to have it do it in the background.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there are a lot of things wrong with what I did, but it works.
That's what's
Nice.
important, right?
That is what's important. And it is able to search Flubber, so it works. I assume you didn't hard code Flubber into it.
No. And I did doing the search, but to load, when you click on a link to load the page,
Uh-huh.
it loads it in an iframe. But when you're doing the search, the iframe is reduced to 1 pixel by 1 pixel. And then when you click on the link, it maximizes the iframe to fill the whole page.
Okay. So it exists the whole time. It's just you're changing the size to make it
Exactly.
visible or invisible.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Why did you make it exist the whole time instead of adding it later?
Because it worked.
Yeah, and I'm just curious if there's like, I don't know why one would be better than the other.
That sounds like a Kenneth question. Like,
I
why
didn't
did
catch
you
the
do it
question.
that
What
way?
was that?
That's the wrong
The
way.
question was why. I mean, I guess my first thought, if I were to make this, would be like, let me add a thing to the page. But yours, I guess, is like, let me expand it so it gets bigger. I don't know if it was your first approach or if this was like, just seemed like the right way to do it or what. I actually I haven't used iframes much, so.
It wasn't my first approach. But every time when you click on the link, the whole page it would change. It would leave CodePen. So I had to find some way to, load it in the page.
Got it.
Okay.
At first I thought something like doing frames, which I know nobody uses frames really anymore. And there was something else that I was looking at, but like having a div that it would load in, that wouldn't work either. So I had to go for the iframe and change the size of it.
Okay. Basically to constrain or to hold the focus on your page rather than go onto the other one.
Yeah.
Cool. Nice.
So, what are we working on today for 30 minutes before I leave?
I don't know. I was going to look at. I was curious about writing a Slack bot, so I wonder how hard that is to do.
Oh, man. So, I've played around with the Slack API, but just for like using it in like a REST interpreter. So, I haven't done like anything using Python, but it didn't seem too. Actually, I take that back. I kind of did, I think. Because you're just sending URL commands to the API using your key.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily hard to write a bot, but it is, I guess, hard to do a lot with it.
You guys might go through.
So there's a Slack. Is this Python or is this just?
Like I said, it's mostly just making URL calls the whole time.
Okay.
So I mean, you can literally type, to the API as long as you have your key. But
Yeah, there's a Slack HQ Python Slack client.
yeah.
Okay.
Those guys over in the AI channel have built Slack bots.
Theirs was pretty insane. They used AIML so that it could actually hold a conversation, and I wasn't looking at anything that crazy.
Well, yeah, that's probably a good idea, but it might give you an idea of what's
True.
involved and what you would need in order to actually communicate with the
Yeah.
API.
Whoa!
That makes sense.
Oh no! Oh no!
What'd you break?
Uh-oh.
Shownoter?
No, I haven't touched Shownoter in a while, actually. Shame on me.
You haven't touched it. Well, it's working, so why touch it, right?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I've got to get this other project finished and then jump back to Shownoter, because the other one is going to actually give me some well-valued practice for a feature that I'm implementing on Shownoter. So.
Well, there you go. Oh. Hey, Brittany, how's it going?
You're muted, Brittany, right now. You gotta unmute yourself.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Sorry, I'm late.
Hey, no worries. Glad you're able to join us.
Thank you. Nice seeing you again, Jamal.
Yeah, nice seeing you. I saw you
At RubyConf.
RubyConf. Yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. We've got 2 Ruby people now?
Yeah. Sorry.
Nice. How you been?
I'm doing good. I'm just jumping in the Python world. So.
Nice. What made you come check out Python?
All my open data friends are doing Python, and everything's in Python. So I was like, gotta learn Python now so I can sit with them. What are you guys doing here? What's going on here?
Right now, we're just kind of sitting around chatting. We don't have any projects going, but start something up. And like coming from Ruby, I think Python is pretty straightforward. I mean, it's all the same concepts, even though there's differences in syntax. There's a lot going on.
How long have you been studying Python?
So I started Python last year, around the beginning of last year.
Oh.
And most of last year I did it. This year it's kind of been on and off.
Okay. I just started like 2 weeks ago, so I may not know whatever you guys are talking about. So.
I think most of us.
Either, so
Yeah. There might be some experts in here, but predominantly we're not experts, so you're fine.
Okay, good. So I'm like, I don't know. I would enjoy Python Thursday, but I don't know anything. So.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you were able to show up.
Thank you.
I think about 2 weeks worth of Python was all I knew when I joined the group. So
It came from C, so that's kind of cheating.
she's coming from Ruby.
And where are you coming from?
C and Perl.
Okay. And who is muted? I see him on Twitter. Someone's muted, and I see one other person.
I don't care about you guys.
You've probably seen Craig from Twitter. I think that's the same.
Why did you let him?
The same. What's that called? Avatar that he uses on Twitter.
Yeah, that's the same.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing good. So,
Don't tell anyone. Oh, go ahead.
is there any like must-read Python tutorials or books that I must have?
Absolutely.
What do you got, Jay?
Where do we start? You want to just round robin this and see if we can keep naming books now?
I can't hear you, Jay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
So I'll start off the round robin with Easy Enough, Learn Python the Hard Way by Zed Shaw.
That's the one I started with.
Too bad.
All right, so what's your Python book of value?
Cylinder-shaped containers. Put a stick on it, and then put some piece of cardboard on the top of that stick, and get some fake handlebars.
I can't hear Jay if he's talking.
Okay.
I think your mic is grabbing.
I want to video it.
But
Yeah,
I'm gonna move.
I don't think it's on your headphone mic. I think it's on the laptop mic.
I don't have a headphone mic.
Oh, okay. Well, that's why.
I'm gonna move. There's a bunch of heathen children running around.
There we go.
Alright. I'm in a separate room, so.
That works.
So I have learned Python the hard way.
That's a good one. That's the one I started with for Python.
I was saying that we should round robin this and just go down the list and keep going until we run out of books.
I know some people start out with Dive into Python or Dive into Python 3. That's not the one I started with, but I've heard good things about it. Those are both available online for free.
Now, Jamal, as a Rubyist, did you find it easier to dive into different things earlier?
Yeah, I think Learn Python the Hard Way has a nice gradual learning curve. So you're able to go through each lesson and kind of just say, okay, so this does what this would do in Ruby, but this is the syntax for Python. And then you get through that one, and then you move on to the next one. And you're like, okay, yeah, this is that same concept, and just kind of work your way up from there. But it has a nice gradual learning curve on it. What other books are there?
I'm going to go ahead and recommend Obey the Testing Goat.
That's a great book.
I guess the name of the book is actually Test-Driven Development with Python. And that's another one that's available online.
The author wanted it to be called Obey the Testing Goat, though, but I think his publisher fought back.
That would have been an amazing name for the book.
I'm a much bigger fan of his little cartoon goat as compared to the actual goat that O'Reilly put on the cover.
Which cartoon goat?
If you go to the website, there's a goat at the top of the page that's sort of staring at you.
Yeah.
So there's actually a lot of Python books out there, but I think that Python doesn't necessarily have that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe someone can correct me, but Python doesn't seem to have that kind of one central book like the pickaxe for Ruby.
Mm-hmm.
But there are a number of good books out there.
Thank you. I appreciate all of you.
Does anyone else have a good intro to Python book?
I wouldn't say I mean, unless someone has a book, I would say it's not a book, but a really good resource if you're willing to pay for it is Treehouse. Um, I've been a Treehouse student for a long time, and at this point, I'm not necessarily going through the courses, but I keep my membership because whenever I have a question, I can kind of quickly just look it up really quick, and then not only have the information, but have like a video tutorial as well as sometime a little way to try it out. But it is a little pricey. I think it's $30 a month, so but it's definitely valuable. And it's not just for Python. That's for JavaScript, HTML, CSS. I mean, databasing, a lot of different things.
The other resource that isn't a book would be Exorcism.io.
Yes.
And that's another one that's fairly language agnostic. It gives you a bunch of programming puzzles, and you go in and you can solve them. And I want to say it's actually started out as a Ruby. It's written in Ruby and was originally Ruby problems.
That's what I was going to say.
A book that I got recently, I think it's Think Python. It seems like it's probably good if you're coming from another programming language because it seems to kind of explain concepts in a little bit more high-level way. But I haven't gone through most of it. I've been using it just a little bit more for reference.
And where are you coming from?
I'm coming from, I've already been doing Python for a while. I actually just bought it to see what was inside it. I think it was on sale at the time. I think O'Reilly did one of those big, like, everything's really cheap sales, and so I bought a whole bunch of Python books. And Think Python was the one that I think a thing told me that they read that was pretty good, coming from another programming language.
I got one of those Safari online subscriptions, so I was looking it up as you talked. Most of the books are available online for them.
Oh, nice.
So that's good.
Well, if that's the case, let me mention a couple more O'Reilly books. Fluent Python, I like not as a learning Python book, but more of a, once you've done a little bit of Python, look at some code examples that are kind of like a little bit more beautiful. Like someone wrote it the way that people typically write Python code, maybe more idiomatic or Pythonic. But it didn't really seem to explain how it, I mean, it explains how it works, but it doesn't explain the basics of Python. So I'd probably just add Fluent Python to the list to get after one of the intro books.
That's on my reading list. I haven't read it yet.
I've only skimmed it.
Thank you for all your recommendations. I'm writing them down now. I mean, I got that. It's $40 a month, and you have like all the O'Reilly books. So that's great. Thank you so much.
Safari.
Yeah, the Safari subscription.
Nice. Oh,
Now,
what'd you post up?
Another good book that's online is Automate the Boring Stuff with Python.
Yes.
I'll second that one.
Yeah, that's great.
And that guy has a couple of other books that you can get to from his website where he's trying to teach people Python through interesting little, less aimed at the standard programmer and more aimed at people who want to get something done that might not think of themselves as programmers.
Nice.
Yeah, I met Al before I knew about his book, just kind of by accident at PyCon. And he's very much a like for the user kind of person. So when reading it, it kind of skips over a lot of the like high level or really kind of like in the weeds concepts and why we do it that way, and just kind of gets down to brass tacks. It shows examples that actually do what you want them to do, and you can kind of infer it from there, which is great as kind of a just diving right in. So automate the boring stuff. It's awesome.
Now, do any of you do like the open data civic hacking any of you into that?
It's interesting to me, but I haven't done anything with it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say I'm in the same boat.
Same.
Oh, great. The Safari subscription has to automate the boring stuff with Python too. So.
Yeah, I think Automate the Boring Stuff has its own website where it's available free, or maybe the pre-published edition is available free. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it does. I think Obey the Testing Code, I would guess, is probably in the Safari thing too, although that's free online as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can I ask, like, if you're coming from different languages, what's something about Python that tripped you up that I should keep a good eye on?
There's no such thing as a semicolon at the end.
Writing Idiomatic Python by Jeff Knupp? Knupp? I don't know how to say his name, actually. It's not an O'Reilly book, and I think you can only buy it from him directly on his website. I think it's $7. Let's see.
Python people are very opinionated about the way the code should be written.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not things like they'll tell you they'll make you feel bad that you did it wrong. They'll just help explain to you, they'll explain to you why what you did is not the Python way to do it.
Yeah.
And show you the way that they think you should do it. And then you look at it and you're like, okay, I can see that.
Yeah, I think coming from Ruby to Python, Ruby has a lot of really clever ways to do stuff that looks neat, and you're like, oh, okay, I totally get that now. Whereas with Python, a lot of times the code will opt for being plain over being what's the right word? Fancy. So rather than trying to do something that's really clever, it's going to just show you this is doing this, and here's my steps to do it. And it won't necessarily be a longer bit of code. It's just the way that it's written is plainer, I suppose, is the word. I don't really know how to describe it. But
more descriptive, or?
Yeah, maybe it's descriptive. So like in Ruby, a lot of times you'll be like, oh, okay, so when I want to do this, I make this block and I pass it into this function, and then it's just going to run. Whereas in Python, you might do a list comprehension that's just saying, okay, for this and this, I do this. It's clearer, maybe?
Do any of you do Django? Have you used Django? I mean, I'm coming from a Rails background, so I was wondering if any of you guys use Django.
I am trying to learn Django at the moment.
We were just talking about that.
So that's a yes. We got a couple of people trying to learn Django.
Jay was saying there's something in Ruby that might be similar.
I've already been doing Django for a while, actually.
You've been doing Django for a while, Trey?
Yeah, I have. That was kind of my... well, actually, I guess it wasn't my intro to Python, but it almost was. Web stuff was my intro to Python. Then I found out that I was supposed to be using Django and hadn't been, and then that was kind of my intro. So I did things the wrong way, and then I found Django. But Django, for learning in general, the tutorial isn't great right now. It will probably improve in the future because there's some good community resources out there. The Django Girls tutorial is what's usually recommended from inside the Django community. It's very non-programmer centered in the sense that it explains things using a lot of non-technical jargon and kind of glosses over stuff for the sake of time, but it's kind of a good intro to this is how Django feels, and this is how making a Django app for the first time feels, and then after spending a few hours on that, you could jump to something a little bit more advanced.
Cool.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. I have to run because there's a bunch of wild herd of children that need to get to bed.
Uh-oh.
And I'm apparently in their way. This is not my bedroom, as you can see. So,
You just take it downstairs.
all right. So,
Now as well. So you guys have a good one.
all right.
All right.
Thank you guys
Okay.
for all your suggestions and stuff. I look forward to seeing you next Thursday.
Thanks for joining
Bye.
in.
Thank you.
Right. Well, we could probably work on something. Let's find something to do. God, it feels like it's been forever since I've coded something. It's probably not a good thing.
This is what happens when you go and get a new job.
Yeah, I know.
Or maybe he just hasn't recovered from his birthday celebration.
That could be it too. 42 years old makes you just go crazy.
So the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything is how old is Jamal?
Right. I'm the ultimate age.
Do we want to do an exorcism?
Yeah, I'm just firing mine up to see where I'm at. So I could probably turn on a screen share so you can know what's going on other than some clicking. Okay.
Jamal, was that a Drobo you have?
Is that a what? I'm sorry?
Drobo.
No. What's a Drobo?
Oh. I guess it's this device that you put like hard drives in. I think it's like, I'm not sure if it's like RAID or something that it puts. It uses the hard drive, so if one goes bad, you still have
okay.
your data.
Like a server.
It looks exactly like with the blue lights that you have in your background on the shelf.
Oh, yeah, the blue light. That's my cable modem in the background.
Oh.
Okay, so Anagram is the one I got. So write a program that, given a word and a list of possible anagrams, selects the correct sublist. Given listen with a list of candidates in lists, Google, inlets, and banana, the program should return a list containing inlets. Submitting exercises. Note that when trying to submit yeah, that's the normal spiel. All right, this look good?
Sure.
All right, cool. I don't. Oh, it's been forever. What do I do? It is. Sure, why not?
Wow.
Okay. What?
I was expecting updates to take a while.
Nah, it's quick for that. So that? No, I don't recall what the key combination is. There we go. Okay, cool. So From anagram import detect anagrams. No module named anagram. Oh, that is going on. So touch anagram.
No, anagram.py.
Yeah, you're right.
Move.
What?
Instead of RM, you should do MV.
Oh.
MV anagram.py.
I was in the way or something. What?
You're screen sharing. How can you be in the way?
Oh. All right, so it doesn't have detect anagrams. All right. No, it's not working.
Well, it looks like they're all airing out because they're expecting 2 arguments.
Yeah.
Or they're passing 2 arguments and it's expecting none.
And it looks like the first argument is your starting word, and your second argument is a string containing
No.
a bunch of words.
No. It's doing a dot split. It's a list.
Oh, you're right. So, oh yeah, I disabled arrows. So, what do we want to call our initial word?
Word?
And then word list, words, options, candidates.
Let's go with candidates.
Nuck.
No.
That's the wrong thing. So it looks like we have the right method signature now.
It looks like if you return an empty list, you'll pass a couple of tests.
Me? Yeah, passed 4.
Pretty much done now.
Yep. Yeah, let's call it a night.
That's enough for a sprint.
Yeah, we're halfway there. Okay, so now, how do we want to handle this? What's our method for detecting an anagram?
If it has the same number of letters
Mhm.
in each word for each letter, I think that's an anagram.
Okay, we can start with that and see how it gets us. So,
I have a question. Do we want to do this as a list comprehension and have some sort of helper function that actually does the detection if an individual word is an anagram?
We can refactor it later.
Okay.
Okay, so for hidden candidates, if then word then Or actually, we can just return that, right? Not return, not return.
No.
So we want the if, because there could be more than one that are correct, right? And we want to add this to some other list called anagrams. Join? No, it's append.
Candidate.
Right, you're right.
And do we need to define anagrams as an empty list outside of the loop?
Sure do. And we'll need it as well, right? So I think that's good enough to test.
Yeah.
And we have the same number of failures. That's not good. Oh, well here, we can't have the same word. So we can pretty quick. That didn't work. We still have 5 failures. Interesting. What's going on here? Second list contains 2 additional elements. Same word. Oh. That's a...
Does it need to work on case insensitive stuff?
Is there a test for case sensitivity?
That was the last one, the Go. Couldn't tell what it was actually testing though.
Okay. So let's try... So maybe make them... So word equals... Is it... ucase? What is it in Python?
Word.upper. It's a method.
Upper.
Yeah, unlike everything else, which is a function.
Yeah. They get confused on those.
I think the general rule is if it's something that could work on just one type, they make it a method. And I guess upper and lowercase only makes sense on strings, probably.
That makes sense. I forgot your commands doesn't mean you have to make it difficult. An extra.
Ah,
Well, it probably would have come back and bitten us later, so because it looks like that's the. Oh no, because we're outputting uppercase now instead of lowercase. Let's go downcase then instead.
I think it's going to be the same problem because that Go one had multiple cases.
Okay, so let's back out of this change then for now.
Yeah, I think we'll want a separate variable for that candidate dot.
For the
upper
lowercase
lower.
version.
Yeah.
That makes
Yeah.
sense. So
We could probably make a helper function at this point, just that returns false or true if one word is an anagram of another, and then you don't have to worry about the uppercase and lowercasing except inside that function.
we got 2 words. We want to see if they have the same letters. So we probably want to sort them, right?
That might work.
Sorted is the correct one. One's in place, the other one's not, and I don't recall which. Oops, okay. So if so we set that up for each of the candidates. If it's an anagram, we append it and return. And to check if it's an anagram, we get 2 words. We see if they're the same word. We sort the letters. If the sorted letters are the same and it's not the same word, it's going to return true. I think that's what we want with the helper function.
You need to change same word. That should be first equals second, not word equals candidate.
You are correct. Sweet. Fun. I think here's our upper lowercase test. Yeah, case insensitive. So here's where we need to, in that helper function, like you said, oh, that's not right either.
You need to move the uppers earlier because you're checking to see if they're the same word. when it's still case sensitive.
You are correct. That didn't do what I wanted it to do. I like doing this, but it works. Cool.
Wait, does it work? Oh, there we go.
Yeah, that's a pretty clever solution. That's not what I thought of.
Well, what were you thinking of?
I was thinking you could make a dictionary where the keys were the letters and the values were how many times you saw the letter, but sorting it just kind of does that for you.
Yeah, it's kind of a shortcut, right? It's
Yeah,
It
well,
doesn't-
there is a shortcut for the dictionary method with collections.counter in Python, but I don't know if one would be faster than the other. I mean, the code's going to be basically 1 versus 2 lines of code at this point. It's so short, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I really like the sorted trick too, Jamal. I don't think I would have come up with that.
Thank you. Okay, so let's go take a look at see what other people came up with. Really? Hey, that's pretty nifty. It's Exorcism Colored Python. Where's the one we just submitted? This is the dashboard. Where am I trying to go, Derek? I can never navigate the site.
I don't remember.
Here it is. Okay, so that's this one. Languages? Well, this is different. And here's what you were saying before. There's a bunch of different languages on here.
Yeah.
Oh, they're adding more. VB.net, C. You're gonna get C, Derek.
Yeah, I've already looked at it. Most of these problems just turn into a royal pain in C. Like most things.
Like most things. Oh, there's Bash. That might be interesting. Cold Fusion. That sounds difficult.
Have you ever written Bash scripts before?
Nothing that's beyond something really, really elementary.
Yeah, those get up to be a pain fast too.
This is not the right place. Where am I supposed to be looking? If I want to see everyone's solution. That's not it. That's my solution that we just did. And this one? Yes, this one. Python.
If I want to test out a solution of my own, how do I force up that test from Exorcism?
You can install Exorcism on your machine, or if you wanted to just grab it, if you go under languages, Python, I believe you can just, under available exercises, you can see and grab that file. Here's the test suite. You can just grab that if you wanted.
Okay.
The easier way is to install their client, but if you just want to get at the tests.
Yeah, I do think I have their client. It's an old version, but it would probably still work.
Cool. And this was what you do with the client to fetch that particular exercise.
Oh, nice.
Okay, so how about this one? Oh, here's like get letter frequency. Is that what we were talking about before? Oh no, that's their own private function. Using a lambda default dict. So they're defaulting the dict to 0 and counting the frequency of the letters.
Yeah, that's the way. It's kind of an advanced dictionary that makes it so that whenever there's a key that's missing, it defaults it to whatever that little factory it is. What is it? Default dict of int? Oh, lambda 0.
So it uses a function to determine the default value.
Yeah, and you could actually use int there too. It's a little bit more clever, but the reason that works is because if you just call int, it gives you the number 0.
Okay.
Kind of weird.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, same with stir. If you call stir, it gives you an empty string, and list and dict are all kind of, they have like an empty default.
Okay.
I don't know when you'd normally use that though.
Oops. So if word frequency. Oh, okay. So we're creating two dicts, and then we're comparing them based off of the frequency of the letters. And then we're also comparing to make sure they're not the same. And then, okay. So same idea, it's just not using the sorted, it's using the default dict. How about
yeah, and then default dict was, I guess default dict of int was popular enough that I think they added counter also in the collections module in Python 2.7 or something.
What does that do?
I put a little paste bin in a thing that I haven't run the code yet, so I don't know if it works, but I tried to make it work.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
So counter of A and counter of B, that's supposed to, if I did it right, loop through the letters and count how many times they occur. So it basically just does the whole default dict algorithm there for you.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Not fancy.
That's cool. Nice. You're doing both assignments at once.
Yep, that's a really Python-y thing. I don't know if that's a good practice, but I like doing it, so I did it.
I kind of like it because I don't like having those two lines that are really not doing very much at all up there to start out. So then you got your list comprehension. Yeah.
And that list comprehension is just basically I wrote a for loop and then I turned it into a list comprehension.
Right, right.
Pretty much the same thing there. I think the fancy part of this is just the counter part. And counter, I think I went a couple years doing Python stuff, probably needed it once or twice, and never knew it was there until I stumbled upon it one time.
So let's collections. Yeah.
Yeah, the collections module. There's probably about 4 things in it that are really useful. Someone should write a book on which of the standard library things are useful to look into. Because I bet there's like 6 of them that are just really useful to know about, and collections I'm sure is up there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm hoping Fluent Python does that for me, but I'm not sure if it will.
There's a Python module of the week that is going on now, and he did it a while ago, and I don't remember who the guy is who writes it.
Doug Hellman.
Yes.
He's a core developer, actually. He did it for Python 2, and I think he's doing it for Python 3 now.
Yeah, he's doing it for Python 3 now.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, that counter's pretty handy.
When you need it.
Yeah. Cool. And all right, so detect anagrams, matches. So this is the same thing without the helper function. It's shorter, but it's a little harder to read. Cool. So counter, that's what I'm going to need to remember.
I bet that's more useful for solving exorcism problems than for like actual code.
In real life.
Yeah.
How many of these things do I have? Oh, I can just create this counter. Yeah, I think you're probably right.
It feels like it's more useful for code challenge type things.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to go grab the chat history. There we go. Isn't it cooperating?
I can't wait to find out what ShowNoter does to that code Trey put in there.
Oh, the regular expression function? Oh. Yeah, I just paste whatever is in my clipboard without checking and then hit enter all the time, and I haven't yet sent someone my password. And I'm surprised I haven't.
I have sent someone half a password before.
Half a password.
Did you panic and hit enter or something? What?
No, I was logging into something, and they sent me a message, and this was at work. And so when they sent me the message, that window popped up and automatically moved me into typing into that. So it got the second half of the password, and then I hit enter because, you type your password and hit enter.
Right.
Was this like AIM or something? I don't think I've had a chat thing that pops up in a little while. For that reason, because I've sent weird things to people that way.
Link/Skype for Business does it.
Oh, really?
I've had it come up and hijack my focus.
I want to say it was whatever the precursor to Link was, Microsoft's
Communicator?
chat app.
Or
yeah,
whatever.
Communicator. But anyway, Trey, ShowNoter has a regular expression to try and parse what is a URL and what isn't. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's going to try and parse that regular expression as a URL.
Yeah.
Actually, it looks like it did pretty good. It still has trouble with exorcism because it needs to be logged in to see that full link.
But it doesn't.
It does, unfortunately.
Because I was able to see it before I logged in.
tell Jay.
Here. See, Jamal?
You're right. I don't know.
Not
Maybe they
logged in.
changed it? Tell Jay. Yeah. See, Jay, your show noter's broken. You need to make an update.
There it is.
I should put things in the chat with the explicit intent of breaking show noter.
We've done that.
We found out it couldn't handle GIFs, so we started putting GIFs in there.
Does it handle Unicode okay?
I don't know.
You don't use enough emojis?
Honestly, I don't. I think he's running it on 2.7. I think one of his dependencies means he has to use Python 2.
Yeah, I'm
Which
not
one?
sure.
I don't remember.
Because Flask supports Python 3.
I think he's running 3, but I could be wrong. If he's running 2, it probably will choke on Unicode.
Anyone done look ahead or look behinds in regular expressions before?
Yeah, but I wouldn't want to have to say that I've done it right.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat, but I'm planning to teach them in 2 days.
There was a Stack Overflow question about parsing HTML with regular expression. And someone responded with something along the lines of, yes, you can do it, and here's a link to my webpage where I did. And the person who wrote this is the guy who wrote the Camel book.
Nice. So he really did come swinging in and hit Perl on the computer, and it
Yes.
happened. What was that? Did Larry Wall write the Camel book? Who wrote that?
No, Larry Wall wrote the language. Tom Christensen.
Okay. All right. Well, I've been getting up early, so I am, I think, just about ready to go to bed. But it's been fun, and it's good to be back. All 42 years of it. So I'm going to drop off. Have a wonderful night. I'll go ahead and stop the broadcast.